Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Webisode. I have promised you that I will bring you the best of the best. And today I have one of the best with me. What are your strengths? How you can work on it? Many people all of their life worked on their weaknesses and never get to something. I believe if you work on your strength, you will become extraordinary. But if you keep on working, you will become just ordinary. So, what do you want to become in your life? Extraordinary or just ordinary? Today, our guest with us, Ruth Pearce. He, she has a vision of a world shaped by strength and character. Her mission is to create community of connection and respect through character strength, mindfulness, and coaching. Her values are connection, collaboration, singularity, respect, curiosity. Friends, I can go on with her introduction, and we will be out of time. But let's hear from her. So, Ruth, first of all, thank you for giving us your presence, and we really loved you to have in this show.
Well, thank you, Amer. I'm very grateful for you inviting me to this. So thank you.
So, Ruth, can you please share your life journey?
That's even longer than my bio, I think, Amer.
Uh, I would like that if you share your life journey in a way that we can get two or three lessons from it that we can implement in our life.
Yes, absolutely. So I was thinking about that before I came on today. Um, but some people will recognize that I have a British accent, but I live in the US, and
Okay.
now I've lived here for 25 years. I didn't intend to become a project manager. My background is actually as an economist. So I have a master's in economics from the London School of Economics. And I also have a law degree, and I trained as a mediator. And that's actually going to come to one of life's lessons. I became a project manager in the 90s when I was over in New York, and found that I really liked the people aspect of project management. And I've always been very fortunate that I've had people around me who don't mind or enjoy doing some of the sort of tracking and the financial tracking and that kind of thing. I've been able to focus on getting those teams really together and working well together and respecting each other and recognizing each other's contribution. And my life lessons, I would say, are that lots of things I thought in my life weren't relevant have turned out to be relevant. Every experience we have, especially with other people, is an opportunity for us to learn a bit more about ourselves and about them. So I now look back on the multitude of experiences I've had in different fields and different locations and with different groups of people, and realize that all of those add up to where I am now. I wouldn't be Ruth Pearce doing what Ruth Pearce is doing now without all of those elements. And someone contacted me recently and said, how do I get to do what you're doing? And my two answers are, don't try to do what I'm doing, because you won't replicate my pathway. Find out what you're supposed to be doing. We share strengths, we share recognizable characteristics that we can recognize in ourselves and in other people. And at the same time, our recipe is unique to us. So find out what it is that you bring to the table that someone else maybe doesn't bring with such intensity, and contribute that to your community, contribute that to the team. And that's what I've found, is that it's taking all of those things and keep moving, keep evolving, keep changing.
Keep moving, keep evolving, and keep changing. And plus, you cannot copy someone else's life and become. So, for example, if Ruth is successful project manager, successful speaker, even if you do each and every certification or knowledge, you will not have that tacit knowledge, or you will not have that knowledge to become the next Ruth Pires. You can become the next yourself, and
Exactly.
you have to connect the dots of your life. because at the end, as Ruth said, that it's your dots and they connect in such a way that they make the best of yourself, knows your strength and become the best from your strength. So Ruth, you talk about lot about knowing your strengths and character strength, basically how knowing your strengths help a person in his life.
Well, it's you keep asking these really amazing questions that we could spend all day on, Amer. So, well, I'll give you an example. So, a few years ago, I worked with a team where the team was feeling kind of left out of what was going on in the organization. They didn't really feel much togetherness with each other or with the other people that they were working with other teams. And we voluntarily, people took the VIA character strength survey. I was a contractor. I had no authority to make people take certain trainings or certain assessments. I invited everybody to try taking the free assessment from VIA. And what we found
Okay.
was, first of all, people are quite often surprised to find what their strengths are. We don't, as you said at the beginning, we don't really focus on what's special about us so much as what we need to fix. And particularly in the workplace, managers are very often telling us, yeah, you did a good job of that. You need to work on your people skills, your organization skills, being timely, whatever it might be. They don't really highlight these are your special qualities, and this is why we have you here. And what people started to see in themselves was, oh, I have these things called strengths that I may have taken for granted. I may not have labeled them as being special and specific to me. I may not have thought about the fact that other people don't have that same mix of strengths. We have a tendency to think everybody thinks like we do. And we actually got everyone to share those strengths with each other voluntarily again. And what people started to realize was they could see positive things in people that maybe they had not recognized positive things before. That person that is irritating and annoying, they have strengths too. And if you can leverage their positive qualities, their character strengths, then some of that stuff that may be frustrating or cause friction between you, you can start to diminish that and actually work more effectively together.
So by knowing our strength and knowing the strengths of other, we can increase our emotional intelligence, and in this way, being a project managers, we can become more people oriented. As all of us knows that being a project manager means that 90% of your time you spend only on communication. And what you are doing as a communication, is it you are repeating yourself, is it you are
Mhm.
just having a follow up, or you are understanding the people? Now
Yeah,
I'm
and
going
I
to
love
ask.
that, Amir, because that's something that comes up. That statistic of the 90% came from Andy Crow's study that then was then shared by PMI, that we spend
Hmm?
90% of our time communicating. And one of the questions I ask my project managers that I coach and train is, are we spending 90% of the time communicating because that's what's needed, or because we actually don't do it as well as we could? And that point that you make, are
Okay.
you repeating yourself? We have a tendency to look for that magic way of delivering everything that will satisfy everybody, however much detail they're interested in, whatever aspects of the project they're interested in. We produce these very long status reports and things like that. And it might actually be more efficient to break our communications down into different styles, spend a little less time on each one, but feed them to different groups of people and let them choose the way they absorb the information. And when you see people's constellations of character strengths, you start to realize that, someone high in curiosity is going to want to know more detail. Someone who's more of a big picture judgment or prudence or perspective person, they want to know how all the pieces come together. They don't necessarily want to know what's going on with every individual task. They want to see the big picture. So, and you can see that through the strengths, and they're all recognizable. And the other thing I love you said about emotional intelligence is that with the character strengths, there's something specific to look out for. Emotional intelligence has that kind of soft feel that it's hard to get your arms around. Someone described it as being like a jellyfish. It was Rich Moutzman actually said it's like a jellyfish. With this, you can look out for these specific characteristics and watch for
Mhm.
behaviors where you go, oh, you know what? That behavior seems consistent with someone being brave, or that's consistent with them being humble. And I can see that and call it out and tell them what I see.
tell them what I see, because with the character strength you get a complete summary or even a more of a work performance report, what things are being happening, and you can work directly on them. What do you think in the next decade will be the top three skills for project managers, and how to develop those skills?
All the big questions, Amer. Um, so I think one of the things we were already seeing is that for certain parts of the population, the way we work is changing. Now,
Yeah,
I avoid generalizations because, although that's a generalization, I try to avoid generalizations because I
okay,
see a lot of posts on things like LinkedIn where they say the future of work is this. And it's like, it is if you're in this category of workers, but the future of work isn't that
sure,
if you are a farmer or a school teacher or you work in a
sure,
store, or there are many slices
agreed, agreed,
of work life. So I think the thing that we're going to notice is that is everybody everywhere is going to have more contact with technology than they have now. So if you're someone who has very little contact with technology, it's going to start creeping into your existence. And if you're someone who already uses technology, you're going to use it more, you're going to rely on technology more, and that's going to accelerate this sense that some people have that we're less connected with each other. And so I think we're going to have to spend more intentional time on making and keeping connections with people. It's especially true if you work with international teams where you're working with them remotely, you're not even in the same time zone. Some of your communications are going to be by email or other asynchronous means. And so being very intentional and thoughtful about how you make those connections with people, what makes a good connection, how do you show respect to someone, being sensitive to their culture and their location and respecting them in a way that they recognize, not assuming that your cultures and your customs are going to be appropriate necessarily. So asking questions, being curious, checking in with people, what they need to feel included. I think that is going to be key to us moving forward, as humanity rather than as individual groups of people who are kind of, again, causing friction and rubbing up against each other.
I really loved the way how you basically converted the thing that not only digital marketing or all those skills that are being publicized on LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever, they will not be important for those people who are farmers, those who are working as a labor on a construction industry. Yes, there will be many AI technology. Yes, there will be so many things. But the most important thing with this fourth revolution, this technological revolution, will be making connection that last longer, knowing the cultures of the person, and being curious about the things, how really things work, and how I can utilize these things so that I can work, and respect everyone because they will remain all around the world. So we got a question from Maria. She's asking basically how to develop active listening. Now that's something that have been working, and that is maybe out of our context, but if you can answer.
So I will say copy Amer, because the way he's reframing and rephrasing the things I say is demonstrating active listening. He's taking away core points of things I'm saying and then bringing them together and then playing them back for the audience, and also playing them back for me to say, yeah, that's what I meant, or no, it's not. So active listening is tough because we tend to, and I cover this when I teach coaches to be coaches. I'm very privileged to do that. And one of the things we talk a lot about is how do you listen to someone else? And we're all brought up where, and I would say this is wherever we're from, and I don't want to assume that we all are the same wherever we are, but I think there's a tendency for us to listen for what reply are we going to give. So we're listening for the cues that tell us, okay, this is where I can insert a piece of advice or a suggestion or a question or an idea. Or we're very often making a connection to our own story. So we're listening to what the person is saying and we're thinking, yes, that's like when this happened to me, or that's like when I did this. And you're identifying, it's part of empathizing with the person. But we lose track of, or in the course of that, we lose track of what is that person saying in that exact moment. Yes, it may sound a little bit like a story you've heard before. Yes, it may sound like something where you've seen a solution work, but focus on exactly what they're saying and kind of think about not looking for ways for you to say something, but just hear what they have to say. And then do what you've been doing, Amer, which is sort of play back what you heard and check in with them. Is that what you meant to say? And have I heard you correctly? And only when you've got confirmation from that other person do you say, okay, so if you want to, we can explore this. Sometimes people get benefit from just talking out loud. They actually aren't going to need you to do a single thing. They just articulate. It's that sort of right brain, left brain thing. They may feel something intuitively, and then when they say it out loud to someone in words, it becomes clear to them. I'm sure most people in the audience have had that experience where something's been all in your head, and then you say to a friend or a partner, you know, this is what, and you go, oh yeah, okay, now it's come clear, just by saying it out loud. So being that person who's attentive, is clearly listening, is not waiting to insert some idea of their own, is really, really beneficial. And that is active listening. The focus being on the speaker, not on yourself.
So focus being on the speaker. And again, this comes back to what Ruth said earlier, making correction, respecting the cultures, and aligning what the other person is saying. I heard the definition of active listening, Ruth, that uh, listening is basically making other person in existence. That if you are not listening an other person, this means he's not existed. And with this all technology moving all around, we need to become better listener, and if we become better listeners, we become better human all around the world.
Yeah.
So another question from Iftikhar, a big one: how to develop emotional intelligence? Now
So
it's a generalized
so
question.
interestingly, it is a big question, and it's one that I feel more comfortable about answering
Okay,
than some of
okay.
the others. So, and I've experienced this for myself, and I've experienced it with team members that I have worked with, and
Okay,
even managers and people like that. So
okay.
we mentioned earlier the VIA Institute the VIA Character Strengths Assessment. And Amer, maybe you can share the link, you know, the
Sure, sure,
viacharacter.org.
sure,
There's a
sure.
free assessment. It's science-based. And this is what I will be upfront, transparent, and say that I now work for the VIA Institute. I worked with the assessment first and loved it so much that I kind of cyber stalked them until they gave me a job. So, but the basic assessment is free. You go online,
Okay,
takes about 15 minutes if English is your first language. It is in other languages as well. So you can, I think it's translated into 47 different languages. So you can take it in your own language. You take that, takes 10 or 15 minutes, and right away you get your results of what your top strengths are, what your middle strengths are, and what the strengths are that are more difficult to use. So I will just say the assessment doesn't measure weaknesses. So when you are inclined to go to the bottom and see what are you worst at, in inverted commas, it's just that those strengths are more difficult to reach. They're more difficult to engage, and they're more tiring to you. Your top strengths are going to be ones that are more energizing and more effortless and feel more sort of, oh yeah, that's the core of me. I can't imagine being without strengths. Find out your strengths. Learn about those strengths. Learn about your top strengths. And think about how you use your strengths every day. And think about, do you use all of your top strengths regularly in every part of your life? Or are there some strengths that you use more at work, and some strengths that you use more with family, and some strengths that maybe you use more with your community? And if you find that you're kind of cherry picking strengths for the domain you're in, start thinking about, how do you bring all of you to every domain? And I'll give an example. One of the things that people often say is, I can't bring love to work. Thank you, Amer, for sharing the link. I can't bring love to work, because we have this perception of love as being something that is very intense, very close. It may be intimate. There's wonderful research by Barbara Fredrickson from the University of North Carolina. It's in her book, Love 2.0, that says that love is actually very short periods of time of intense connection. So even if you're deeply in love with the person that you are, seeing or married to or spending time with or whatever, they aren't actually in your head. You're not thinking about them every moment of every day. When you do think about them, there's that rush of, oh, I feel good about, thinking about my loved one, right? And love is that moment of intense feeling, which you can have with anyone. When you have that moment of intense connection, it's the same feeling you get when two of you are working on something and you just seem to be really synchronized and working well together. That is a form of love. It isn't romantic love, but it is love. It's the same emotion, the same hormones going through your body that give you that sense of uplift and positivity. And so we can bring love to work. I bring love to work because I love coaching people. I love working with teams. I love seeing what teams can produce. I actually get really good short periods of connection with people through my work. So find out your strengths. It's a long answer, but it works. Find out your strengths and then start walking around with, and I literally mean print out the 24 strengths on a piece of paper, carry it around, or have it on an iPhone or whatever's convenient to you. But I like the paper because you can feel it. That's my age, I think. You carry that around, and whenever you can, spot a strength. We use the C method, SEA in English. So it is S for spot the strength or see the strength. E is to explain what you see. So what behavior did you see in the person that made you think of that strength? And then A is appreciate. So why do you appreciate that strength? Find one person each day. It can be a family member. It can be a friend. It could be someone on LinkedIn. It could be someone you work with. It can be anybody. Pick one person each day, spot one strength in them, explain what you saw that made you think of that strength, and tell them why you appreciate the strength. And if you do that every day, you'll experience three things. One is you will start to more automatically pay attention to the qualities that other people have, which is part of emotional intelligence. And you'll start to be more sensitive to what they need, which is emotional intelligence. So if you've got someone curious, they're going to want more information. If you've got someone with perspective, they're going to want bigger picture. You're going to start to see that. So you will start to pay better attention. You will feel good. When you first do it, it will feel strange to do it, but you will feel good when you do it. And if you watch them, you'll see they start to do it to other people. So you have a ripple effect. And that is emotional intelligence. It's that building connection, seeing the other person, understanding how you interact with that other person, helping that other person to see themselves better, and managing the relationship between you and others.
I really loved the way how you articulated the strengths and how you gave us the formula basically to develop the emotional intelligence. I have been working with the team since I'm a project management consultant. I'm working on all of these things, and emotional intelligence has been one of the things that I have been working for last 2 3 years. I did take the report and I'm working on it, but with this information, with being sensitive, active listening, with the formula of SEA, so I will explore all these things. I will support the people and I will appreciate this. For all the listeners out there, I have shared the link of viastrength.org. You can go there basically, and for free, they will tell you your strengths. You just have to fill a survey for 15 months. And if you want a a report, you can upgrade yourself. I did a detailed report. My wife, I've even made 3 to 4 friends. They also did this free survey. So it's a great tool. It would only take 15 minutes, but if you focus on that report, as Ruth has said, you will start seeing why do you love something. Ruth, if I can share experience of mine, like love of learning is my second highest strength. So I was not feeling myself. I was thinking what to do, what not to do. Even training, online training for like last 13 hours, I was feeling low. Generally I feel high. Then what I did, I opened the report and I thought, okay, let's apply love of learning in it. I started reading a book, and after 15 minutes I elevated myself. So that
You understand the magic of character
yes,
strength.
yes,
Yeah.
I did. That was like a practical experience how this magic works. So do apply on this self, and this was the best definition, the best practical way that you can do for emotional intelligence. So if you can work on this emotional intelligence, I'm sure you can become a better project manager. Okay, Ruth, you have written a book, Be a Motivator, Unlock the Secrets of Strength Based Project Management. Can you focus on a little bit how a project it can help a project manager to become a better project manager through your book?
So the so the premise of the book is really, it's the basis. It's based on my years of experience as a project and
Okay.
program manager. And
Okay.
I've had the good fortune to often work with teams that either were considered to be a somewhat troubled team, or they were in a very challenging situation. I've worked with many, many international teams, for example, where the time difference, the language difference, the fact that we're not sitting together has been very challenging. And so we've had to overcome those things. And so the book really sort of pulls all that experience together and weaves in the science of things like growth mindset and appreciative inquiry and via character strengths to show you how you can build from those tools to really build a team. For me, I feel like a project manager, I've always said to my teams, project manager, project leader, program manager, or whatever it is, it's a role, it's not a level. There's a tendency to think that people come up and feed into the project manager. No, for me, a project manager has a specific role to facilitate the team. And I'm, as a project manager or program manager, I'm helping them to remove obstacles. I'm getting the resources that the rest of the team need in order to make things happen. And that is just a function within the team. It's no higher or lower than anybody else. And so what I've really focused on with project teams is how to make the team a group of equals with a variety of skills and contributions, and to leverage those contributions to the full. And that's what the book is about. How do you leverage the people in front of you to the full, regardless of what their title might be? Their title might be business analyst. They might, because of love of learning, have a passion for another topic that they have taught themselves that the team needs and they can contribute. So it's about loosening the boundaries, working outside the box, or even taking the attitude, there is no box. You have deliverables, you've got a set of people and resources that you can use. How do you optimize those resources to get to those deliverables in the most effective way? And that's what the book is about. So.
Okay, okay. So the way you explained it, I think it's a must read for myself. So how to become a better project manager, because you have broken down the old hierarchy that project manager is there, then he's there. No, the project manager is basically just a job role. Today you are a project manager, maybe tomorrow you are working as a business analyst or something else. That's basically the enigma of all the projects. In one project you may be at higher hierarchy if we have a hierarchy level, or in the next project you may be at the lower hierarchy. But this is not the way how modern projects are handled. You have to become a peer to everyone. You have to understand their emotional intelligence. You have to work how they think, and then along the way utilize all the talent in a talent pool and become a better project manager. I think
And
if
their
all.
insights as well, Amer. I think it's also people's insights. There's a great example of a person that took over a hospital in New York, and
Okay.
they were having very high rates of infection. So this isn't project related, this is operations related, but it was a real eye-opener to me. So they took over the hospital in New York. There was a high rate of infections, and he went and asked the cleaning staff what insights they had, because
Okay.
when the operations were over, the cleaning staff would come in to sanitize the room. And he said, what are the challenges for sanitizing the room in an operating theatre? And they laid out for him the areas where it was really difficult to get the room properly cleaned, and where they didn't have the equipment to do it. If they could only have one of these, they thought they could clean better. And he implemented their suggestions because, yes, they're not operating staff who are cutting people open and doing things, but they are the people that know how you make a place safe and clean afterwards to do the next operation. And it's that kind of concept. I've so often had team members who've said, I'm not sure if you want to hear this from me, and I want to hear it from everybody, because people will see things from their perspective that others won't notice because of where they're sitting. So we want everybody's perspective and observations and insights, and we may not take them all, we may not act on all of them, but encouraging that contribution from everyone, a contribution by everybody is expected and appreciated for how it stimulates thoughts and creativity in everyone else.
I think this was one of the best example I have ever heard. Like if you go to the cleaning thing and you ask them how to make better clean, automatically the hospital become more sanitized and the things become better. That was a great example. Thank you. Even although it was not project related, but thank you for sharing it. It basically broadened my perspective how things work. So we are running out of time. Just one last question. Can you share about your init program? I was looking up for it. Like many people are looking for coaching, and it was very economical and it was a very good 10 sessions. Can you just share something about it?
Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity to mention that. Yeah, so I and a group of 12 other coaches, so lucky 13, have put together a series of this. This actually started with COVID in the US. We had a group of us that came together because we knew people were suddenly thrown into working in a very different way, and juggling life in a very different way. And so we had this free program. It's group coaching. And it was so successful that we're going to do it again starting in January, where we have 12 coaches. It's 5 sessions. I mean, you can see the details on my website. But basically, we meet every 2 weeks in a group, and we facilitate a conversation about a topic that's meaningful in this moment to help people navigate today's life. And what we find with group coaching is there's so many ideas from the group. You could have a one-on-one coaching session with me, and we'll get a long way. But you don't have the insight of the other people in the group. As you can tell, I'm a big person for collaborating with other people. So you have the insights of the other group members. There's that sense that you're not alone, so you're in a group where people are going, oh yeah, I feel that way too. So there's that sense of comfort and community. The coaches are all different in the way they coach and what their insights are. And so we get lots of different insights there. And we just find that it's an amazing way for people to feel supported and for them to grow in some of these areas. And there are lots of things that we give as well, like the VIA assessment and everything. And we're very structured about how we build on the character strengths. All the coaches are building on character strengths. And it's really a way for people to get access to coaching without having to invest in a one-on-one coach. You might be someone whose work organization doesn't provide coaching and stuff. And so it feels a little bit out of reach. In a group, it's much more affordable too. So.
Okay. Thank you, Ruth, for such insight. And I would love to host you next time, especially on the topic how to become an effective project manager and why project managers need coaching. We can.
Oh yeah, that would be terrific, Amer. Anytime you want to invite me back, just let me know. I'd be happy to do it.
Sure. Thank you. So thank you, Ruth, for coming. And friends, let's say thank you to Ruth because she has given her time, she have given her insight, and she have given her experience. With her experience, with all the knowledge of the strength, I would assist you. I would help you. Just reach me out how to fill that form, how to fill that VIA strength. But before going to sleep tonight, do fill that VIA character strength. It's just 15-minute assessment, and it really helps you how you think about the work. It basically gives you self-assessment. For me, self-assessment is the first step towards emotional intelligence. And in a world where we are living right now, emotional intelligence matter more, many times more than intelligence, IQ, or all those things. Because with emotional intelligence, even if you have no qualification, nothing, you can become even the highest position in whatever workplace you are. Maybe you can become the president of the country, whatever you are working with the emotional intelligence. Thank you, Ruth. So
Thank
see
you,
you
Amer. I
till
really
next time.
appreciate it.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye-bye.